Liberal Dan Radio presents
Fat Man Rants.
You might ask yourself, polling data and the media, is that really something that's rant-worthy? Well, I got a little bit of a rant. See, we've heard information about polling that was done on universal background checks, and 80 to 90% of the American people support universal background checks. But have we seen universal background checks pass through Congress, get signed into law by the president? No. Why? Because we don't know how strongly those 80 to 90% feel about universal background checks. We hear that 60 to 65% of the American people support abortion being legal in most, if not all, cases. Why are we still seeing these draconian abortion measures being passed after the overturning of Roe with the horrible Dobbs v. Jackson ruling? Because we don't know how staunchly those 60 to 65% of Americans support choice, support body autonomy, support the ability of an individual to determine if they're going to remain pregnant or not. We just don't know because that's not included in the polls. We need more information because as of right now, if there's a Republican legislator or a Republican candidate running to be a legislator and they are beholden to the NRA, they're getting funds from the NRA, or they're getting funds from some activist anti-abortion group, and they're looking at the numbers and they're saying, oh, well, the majority of Americans disagree with me, but, well, I'm getting all this money, and, well, I'm going to just bet that my district is a conservative one, and even if there are people in my district who might be pro-choice, they're going to vote for the Republican because of other reasons. Or even if the people in my district are supportive of universal background checks, I'm still going to think that they're going to vote for Republicans for other reasons. That's why we need to have better polls done. That's why we need to have in the polling questions a question like, if you support abortion in all cases or in most cases or what have you, and a politician on the ballot does not support abortion to the level that you support it, are you going to vote against that politician just on that issue? Yes or no? And if we find that out, or we find out to what level would you reject it, like maybe you support abortion in all cases, abortion on demand, but maybe you'll support somebody who would support abortion in most cases, but has some exceptions that they would write in because to you that would be tolerable as compared to the other person who is a no abortions, no exceptions type person or whatever. You take the poll, you find out where the population rests as it pertains to their tolerance to bans, and then you'll know how the population feels when it comes to what they are happy with and what they're not happy with. And at the end of the day, you'll then get a real picture as to how the population really feels about abortion rights. Because it's all well and good to ask people, well, how do you feel about abortion? But it doesn't do us any good unless we know how much are you willing to stand up and fight for it. Because that's what we really need to know. We really need to know how much the American public is willing to stand up and fight for it. Look, we found out that the people in Kansas were willing to do it because they were willing to stand up and vote and make sure that it remained a constitutional right. So there were some people that were willing to stand up and fight for it. They got out and voted. They didn't necessarily vote out politicians, though, but they at least voted on the ballot initiative. But American people need to make it known that not only do you personally support the individual right to body autonomy, but that you are going to make sure that politicians can't get away with it, including rejecting all these other issues and kicking them out if they infringe on these rights. But we can't know how the American public feels about these issues if the polling data is just giving us the 30,000-foot view of what's going on without showing us how deep the support is, how hard the people are willing to fight for it. So yeah, the polling data is woefully inadequate when it comes to how deep people's support is, and it needs to be better in order for us to get a better understanding. So that's why I'm calling on, if you're a media organization, or if you're a pollster group, or if you're an activist group trying to get polling data on how people feel about, abortion issues or about gun control issues or any other issue that you find important, don't just ask them how they feel about an issue, but also go out and ask them, is this enough of an issue? Is this important enough of an issue to you where if a politician opposes you on it, that you're going to get them out, that you're going to vote against them, that you're going to work against them, and you're going to make sure that they don't get elected? Because that's the only way that you're going to fight for change. That's the only way that you're going to affect change, especially between elections. Because you can sure vote people out in elections, but without polling data between elections to tell them, look, you're going the wrong way here. We need you to change your course. They're going to continue doing these bad things, and people are going to continue to lose rights. So let's get these polls right. Let's get these polls more accurate, and let's get better questions in these polls to make sure we know where the people really stand and how much they're willing to stand up and fight for what is right.